Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope you all had a Merry Christmas and having a happy holiday. Had a pretty good one. See the hip hop posts in the background. We're still celebrating 50 years of hip hop. It's Richie Hicks Union Sports Podcast. We bring to you news from the MLB, NHL, NBA, and the NFL. We also talk about boxing. We talk about hip hop. We talk about a lot of things. But we got a lot of other things to talk about. That people are mad. Fans are pissed off. Players are pissed off. Everybody's pissed off. I'm pretty sure y'all pissed off with me just talking about nothing. So let's talk about something right now. It's about the transfer portal. We got this now. It used to be where coaches can go here and there wherever they felt like going, even though they had a commitment to a college. You know, they could leave, and the player they may have recruited, he can't go anywhere. He's stuck there. You know, and it was a point to where they to do whatever time, and then afterwards they can transfer, but they had to sit out redshirt a year, blah, blah, blah. But now with the transfer portal, players can say, hey, I'm here at USC and say, I want to go to Washington. I want to go to Alabama. I want to go to Syracuse. I want to go play up there in Maine. I want to go play with the Idaho, the Vandals. They can do that now. But what limit should players have? With NIL deals, you know, these players who are being, you know, recruited to colleges, you know, they're making their money, but the college is paying for their education. So when does it end? I'm all for the players, you know, making their money, because they should not have to sit back in college and watch the NCAA make billions of dollars off of their, you know, their likenesses. I remember playing NCAA football on PlayStation, and I knew, and I said this in a previous show, I knew who the players were, you know, based on the numbers. Like I said, I used to play with Texas A&M because I was a Leland McElroy fan, even though I'm an LSU man. You know, I just like Leland McElroy. And I used to like the wishbone and stuff like that. So I ran that. But the names were never on the jerseys like Penn State. But now the players can make money off of their likeness. But what happens with the college? And I am not, you know, I am not touting for the college, because I think colleges have made enough money off of players. But the players are not making their money, I think. And some players are actually just changing because they weren't good enough on whatever team. They went to a college, and the guy who just walked on or whatever beat them out of the position. So this player doesn't want to go. They just want to play there. And I'm going to say this generation is soft, but they just didn't want to play there. So they transferred from, let's say, Ohio State to Oregon State, you know, and they got a chance to play. But then another player comes in, they lose a position, then they move. So when does it stop? I can see you transfer maybe one time, or transfer because you are from California and your family's from New Hampshire, and you just, the travel, you say, wow, your family can't come see you. The games come on at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night when your parents are at home sleeping. So you want to transfer closer to home, maybe to Maine, or maybe to Boston University, or Boston College, or, you know, anywhere in New York, LIU, whatever. I can see that hardship. But when you just transfer because you just wasn't good enough on one team, no, this college is paying for your scholarship. Don't get me wrong. I don't give a damn about the colleges, because they've made billions of dollars off of players over the decades. So I don't care about them. But still, they're paying for your education. I say make these kids sign a contract. You transfer into this school, you have to be here for a couple of years, or you have to be here for this year or whatever. You just can't say, I want out. And I see with this generation, people going to come at me, why are you coming up with this generation? I see with this generation, a lot of people quit. It's no fight because they don't get their way. They want to quit and say, oh, let them have their way, like little children. No. You chose this college. You chose USC. You chose Florida. You chose Michigan State. You chose Connecticut. You chose Kutztown State. You chose these schools. If you could not beat a walk-on or someone out for the job, don't get upset. You just wasn't good enough. Now, I've said this in previous shows. You got to get better. And if you have to sit behind the quarterback for 4 years, you can't beat him one of those years, that's your problem. You weren't good enough. All these accolades you got in your state, maybe you didn't deserve them. You just weren't good enough. So I say, and with NIL deals, these kids are making big money. Caleb Williams making a knot. So it's not like they're starving. If they're being paid for their likeness, then they should have to sign a contract. And like I said, I'm all for the students making their money. But come on, when they give you that scholarship, another kid is not getting it. Then when you leave, that kid who wanted to go there never got a chance. So we got to do something. Something's got to be done because amateur sports is going downhill. All the rules that made amateur sports great are going downhill. College players, and excuse me for stuttering, I'm trying to get my words right. College students, college athletes are going there just to get that deal. They don't care nothing about education. And when they get to the pros, everything fails. Oh my God, my child, blah, blah, blah. That's a decision they made. Be a man, grow up. So what can you do? And officiating. It's bad this year. I've been watching football. I'm 59. I've been watching football since 1970. I saw my first Super Bowl. I wasn't there, but I did see the Jets, even though, I didn't see the whole season, but I did see the Jets when theirs. And, back then it was a rough game. It wasn't all this targeting and stuff. Like if you got hit, if you got clothesline, you just got hit. You just got clothesline. And as time went on, I remember the in the grass rule where once the guy grabbed you, the quarterback, you were down. They didn't have to sling you to the ground. I remember Tim Harris slamming Terry Bradshaw and, him breaking a bone in his neck or show. I can't remember. I was a kid when it happened, so I can't remember. I remember Darryl Stingley getting paralyzed by hit by Jack Tatum. I remember all this stuff. It's growing up as a kid. And as a kid, I'm not going to lie, I like seeing that. I like seeing the hits, not the injuries. But I enjoyed seeing the hits, the collisions. I used to love watching NFL films. I mean, it's great. And I understand some of the rules are there to protect the quarterback, protect the player. But now it's getting out of hand. These guys are moving at 10, 15, 20 miles per hour. They are flying. And then you're asking them to pull up. All of a sudden, cars can't do that. Vehicles can't do that. But nothing can pull up that. You got a cheetah running in the wild. Look what happens when he tries to pull up or change direction. He flips over 1,000 times. So you asking humans to do that in the air? A guy's coming full speed and he's jumping towards the quarterback and he hits the quarterback just as he hit the ball and his weight falls on him. You're going to call a roughing the pass. You hit something, tell the guy, don't hit him. But then he pulls up and the quarterback launches a 70-yard pass touchdown, game over because he was afraid to hit the quarterback. I saw plays where, and this is not to knock the Cowboys. Everyone knows I'm a Cowboy hater, the biggest Cowboy hater on the planet. Stephen A is next to me. But I seen plays with Dak Prescott where he's about to get, especially the Miami game, he's about to get obliterated. But the D lineman pulled up because of the first time they got him for roughing the passer because he sacked him. His weight, this guy's 300 pounds. If he lands on him, what can you do about it? It's crazy. And the defenseless receiver, he's defenseless. He's in the air trying to catch a pass. He's going to be defenseless. So you want the guy, the defender, to stop. I'm going to wait till he catches the ball. Instead, if he catches the ball and you hit him, it's still defenseless receiver. So what do? You can't do nothing. You are handcuffing the defensive players. I can see Micah Parsons' beef. However, I don't want to hear fans complaining, they're doing this. Every fan of every team complains when if they look at their offensive line, there's holding on every down. Period. Okay? Cut the nonsense out. There's holding on every down. So when you see Micah Parsons being held, it probably is a hold. But you know what? There's probably a hold on your team too. This is not to absolve the NFL or officiating because there's been a lot of horrible calls. You have instant replay. You can't review this play. You can't review like in college if it's a late hit or violent hit. You can't review it and say, okay, what could the player have done? What's replay for? Tell me, Roger Goodell. What's it for? Tell me, NFL. What's it for? So we got to do stuff because the game is gearing towards a flag football type of game. You can't hit the quarterback. You can't hit the receiver. You can't go low. You can't go high. You know, you can't do anything if you're on defense. So what this is a contact sport, as they call controlled violence. And you have those knuckleheads. Oh, we should ban foot. Shut up. That's these Gen Zers and these ones who, you know, I don't want to hear that. And it's not a knock on Gen Z, but come on, you guys are like soft, you know. Oh, we shouldn't be doing it. Shut up. Just be quiet. You know, if you don't like the game, don't watch the game. But don't spoil it for us who've been watching this game for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Well, if he was watching 80 years, it probably passed away by now. But still, don't spoil it for us. We like it. Players like it. If you don't like the game, don't watch it. Period. But don't bitch and whine about how it's violent and it should be banned. There's other things more important than you trying to get football banned than whatever. Go help them kids overseas who are starving. Go stop the war in Palestine and Israel. Go stop. It's so much you can do. Stop this oppression that's going on here in the United States. Leave the game alone. It's not your business. Now back to the thing. The officiating needs to be fixed. Just like you fine players for illegal hits or whatever, you need to fine officials for egregious calls. And the thing about the officials, this comes down from the league. I've seen so many hits on quarterbacks that should not be roughing the passer. I can't stand the Cowboys, but that roughing call over the weekend on them against Miami was not even a roughing call. If anything, NFL, you need to fix this because you are turning this game into nothing. You're turning it into some trash. So, hey, it's another story for another time. Deontay Wilder lost the decision this weekend, unanimous decision. It wasn't close, not at all. What's left for him? Parker just dominated him. I never thought he was such a great boxer. I just thought he was a heavy puncher, and he never developed into a boxer. I think his best days were with Mark Breland. But still, he wasn't a prototype boxer. He was just a guy who had a tremendous punch. I'd never seen any skill. And me, as a former amateur boxer, I knew when it was time to stop. You know, I had a decent career, mainly in the military, and then, you know, tough man contests. But I knew when it was over. My last fight I had, I just didn't have it. I was on the defense most of the fight. You know, I fought, but after like the midway through the first round, I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I was just tired. And I just went through the motions, boxing my way to the decision, rope-a-dope and stuff like that. And I knew right then when the guy I've known for years, he would see me fight. He said, "What's up?" I said, "Dude, it's over." You see what I said? "I'm done." He said, "Yeah, actually," I said, "This is it." I said, this was the last one. I was done. And with Wilder, I see the same with him because if you neutralize his power, there's nothing left in him. I felt Parker could have knocked him out in the 8th round with another referee, let's say Jay Nady or even the retired Richard Steele, or maybe my favorite, Mr. Steve Willis, who was probably the greatest referee I've ever seen, who seemed to enjoy the matches as much as we do. I think had they been the referees of those fights, this fight, they may have stopped it in the 8th round. Wilder got dominated. It wasn't close. He waited to the last round to throw punches. For him to raise his hand, I understand, it's customary for a fighter to raise their hand whether they win or lose. But brother, you lost that fight. And I don't know why some of his fans say he won. He lost that fight. He was almost knocked out in round 8. And to continue on with him, him saying what he would do to Mike Tyson is absurd. Because the way Parker hit him with that first looping right hand, if Tyson has you, and he was going straight backwards, you're going straight backwards against Mike Tyson, you are asking to be KO because it's just like a lion or a tiger or a bull coming straight forward for you. And you're not giving him any type of lateral move it to even fall off balance. And with Tyson would have ate him up because Tyson's so low to the ground, so fast, so bobbing and weaving. His lateral move was insane in his prime. He would have got Wilder out of there. Parker should have got him out of there. Parker may not have been the most experienced guy there. Guy has skills, but I mean, I never heard of him until to this fight. But he showed me how much heart he had. I think he would have settled down on his punches more, went to the body a little bit more than went to the head, I think he'd have got Wilder out of there. But back to Wilder. Wilder needs I think his days are done. Not saying he can't come back from this, but he got a lot of work. He has to learn how to box, how to stick move, how to jab, how to throw the right, or in his case, throw the right hand, throw jab with the left, throw the right hand. He has to learn how to move around. His endurance is not there. He has no lateral move. He just throws bombs, and that's all he talks about. I'm just going to hit him with this hand. I'm just going to hit him with this hand. You got to box, brother. Every great puncher got schooled by one fighter who could box. Tyson Fury showed the world how to beat Deontay Wilder. Jab, lay on him, stay in his face. Don't give him any room. Just wear him down, and that's what happened. So, I think he needs to change trainers. He needs to find a more, I call it boxer centric, basically a trainer who teaches you how to box, how to jab, how to move, stick and move, duck, weave, feint. And I don't see those in him. I don't see feints in him. I don't see any bobbing. I just see a guy going straight forward, throwing a wild jab and a big right hand. That's all I see, and that's not enough. He needs a trainer who's going to teach him. It's sad Emmanuel Stewart's not alive because he was good with the tall fighters. Emil Griffith. I mean, so many. Rest in peace. Still, some of the greats. But he needs to learn how to box. And until then, this is how his career is going to be. He says he's going to come back. We'll see. I mean, I wish him luck. I'm not a fan of him, but I wish him luck. I don't, wish anything wrong with any fighter because I wish I had that career. But like Floyd Mayweather, I had bad hands, and there's no way I could have went pro and been successful, although I wanted to, but I couldn't do it. Opinions. And don't pay attention to the picture. I find with people, they look more at the photo than listen to the message. But I use Stephen A. Smith as a benchmark, as a point to prove. We are all fans of the game, whether it be football, baseball, hockey, boxing, basketball, whatever sport it is. And we all have our own opinions. But the worst thing you can say is, how does this man have an opinion when he never played the sport? A lot of you never played the sport. A lot of you never boxed. A lot of you never played football. A lot of you never shot a basketball. A lot of you never hit a hockey puck. A lot of you never hit a baseball. So why doesn't anyone else have an opinion? Because you don't like their opinion? Maybe that's what it is. And I'm going to defend him this time. They say, well, he averaged 2 points a game. Those who know Stephen A. Smith and follow him from Queens to Winston-Salem State know he basically blew out his knee to where he could not get back on the court. You just have to look the way he walks. But Stephen A. Smith was a baller. Those of us who grew up in New York and the Bronx and the Queens area, Stephen A. Smith knew how to ball. Injury ended his career before he can get it started. But that's besides the point. Why do you feel people don't have an opinion? Because they didn't play the sport? If that's the case, 80% of the people who talk shouldn't be talking sports. Even you. Even you. What gives you the right to be able to talk about a sport? Where are your credentials? The best people talking about the sport are the ones who didn't play. To be honest with you, I'd rather listen to someone who went to college and covered the sport for 20, 30, 40 years. Now, Skip Bayless, he's a knucklehead. He knows his sports. The problem with Skip Bayless is he says the wrong things about the wrong people. He makes it personal. but he knows a lot about the sport. And again, I'm not defending him. The point I'm making, people who went to school and people who studied the sport, they talk more. Athletes tend to speak like athletes. They tend to dick ride. Forgive my French. That's what they do. They don't speak unbiasedly. They speak, let's say, Michael Jordan, let's say LeBron, being that seems to be the biggest beef. They won't speak objectively about either one. They speak in favor of this and that. And that's what I find with broadcasters, announcers, journalists. They will speak unbiasedly because, I mean, it's kind of getting out of that in recent years, but they tend to speak unbiasedly, objectively. They tend to give a viewpoint from both sides so people can understand, to where athletes don't do that. If you listen to the NBA broadcast, I like Mark Jackson, but I'd rather listen to Jeff Van Gundy, because Mark Jackson will be more player, and he won't speak unbiasedly to a Mark. Van Gundy will check him. That's why he's not on ESPN. Same thing with Mark Jackson. I can't listen to Reggie Miller because he speaks as a player. He won't speak for the fan, but I listen to oh God, just forgot his name. But anyway, oh God, I forgot his name. My bad, y'all. But he tends to be the lead announcer on the games, you know. But he's more unbiased, like Mike Fratello, former coach. He spoke unbiasedly, but whatever player he had, whether it be Chris Webber or whoever, they spoke as the player, as the fan. You can't speak as a fan because you're talking to other fans. So you're going to alienate some fans. But so who is qualified to make an opinion? If you're a fan, you can make an opinion. If you're a broadcaster, if you're an announcer, you can have an opinion. So stop with this. This person doesn't have a right to say anything. Shut up. That's another thing I've heard over the last generation. This generation right here. Yeah, I'm coming at y'all. This is the stuff I hear. You don't have the right to say that. You're not qualified to say that. Who is? Are you? No. Thank you for watching the Richard Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Feel free to like and subscribe and share the channel. We don't have a set time we're on here. When the news breaks, when there's commentary, we bring it to you. Once again, hip-hop in the back. Hip-hop 50 years. We're having a show coming up. And we're going to have a new theme song. Stay tuned, y'all. I'm Idris, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. Once again, it was fun. Come back again. Come see us. I hope y'all having a happy holiday. See y'all next time.